So the Indiana Fever fans are furious with this signing. Absolutely furious with the fact the Fever have signed someone who appears to be a Caitlin Clark hater in Brianna Turner.
Indiana Fever just signed Brianna Turner, and boy, did that backfire fast. Turns out she's got a history of hating on Caitlin Clark. Yeah, the same Caitlin Clark who's supposed to be her teammate. Now Fever fans are looking at her like, "Girl, you sure you in the right locker room?" This drama is hotter than a Steph Curry heat check, and we haven't even hit training camp yet.
You sign Brianna Turner, it seems to us anyway, like, was that just a line of BS? Because I can't imagine why you would sign her. I understand she's supposed to be this great defensive player, but is it worth taking a flamethrower to your fan base and your locker room, by the way?
Indiana Fever was cooking up a masterpiece in free agency. They had the ingredients, the right players, and the fans were hyped. Then, boom, Brianna Turner enters the scene, and suddenly the whole recipe is tasting a little off. Turner was supposed to be a defensive powerhouse, a key addition to bolster the Fever's lineup. Fans were expecting blocks, steals, and pure lockdown defense. Instead, they got a Twitter scandal, hotter than a buzzer beater in double overtime.
Haven't seen this before, but kudos to them for publicly honoring all them comments this season. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up does? It does if you're Iowa. I'm sorry, it does. It's like when it's a Cinderella run. Like, you don't have to win. Like, you don't understand. People do not understand. This was a team that went to back-to-back Cinderella runs.
It turns out Turner had some thoughts about Caitlin Clark. And not just yesterday. No. These were pre-Fever, pre-WNBA, straight from the college days thoughts. And when fans unearthed those tweets, let's just say it wasn't pretty. Imagine signing a top-tier bodyguard only to find out they once trashed your star player in a viral rant. That's exactly what's happening here. The tweets were basically a highlight reel of Turner going off on Clark and her Iowa squad. And now, she's walking into the same locker room where Caitlin Clark is the main attraction. That's like applying for a job where you once publicly called the CEO a fraud. Awkward? That doesn't even begin to cover it. Show tweet below.
Expectations, and you took time after every single game to sign autographs for fans, whether you were home or away at a tournament. Why did that mean so much to you to take that time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, I used to be in those young girl shoes, and whether you're a young boy, young girl, I ran around with two brothers that idolized girls and boys and wanted to be like them, and I think those are the people that allowed me to dream and want to be in moments like this, so it was something I enjoyed. I would say you all inspired me just as much as I inspired you, and you allowed me to live out my dream every single day, and for that I'm forever thankful, so thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me, and I hope to be back at a lot of games, and I encourage all of you to do the same and continue to support this team in the way that you have over the course of the last 2 years, so thank you.
So, the Fever signed Brianna Turner, who barely played last year. She attacked the entire Loa fan base, as well as the incredible senior class of Caitlin Clark, Kate Martin, and Gabby Marshall for celebrating the team and fans that made women's basketball a mainstream sport.
You gotta ask yourself why. Indiana fans are not happy. Obviously, Caitlin Clark had to say yes to this decision, but they're not happy because Brianna Turner has said a whole lot about a whole lot. And I'm going to jump into it real fast to show the levels of hypocrisy of the WNBA. I keep telling you that the WNBA is a hypocrite league, and they're filled with bullshitters and liars, and it just continues.
To put it in basketball terms, Turner just threw an accidental self-oop for the haters. It's like running a perfect fast break only to trip on your own shoelaces. And fans? Oh, they're making sure she hears it. Social media is lighting up like a playoff game in overtime. Some are laughing at the irony, others are furious, and a few are sitting back with popcorn, enjoying the chaos. One thing's for sure. Turner didn't need to take a single step on the court to shake up the Fever's season. Indiana Fever went from thinking they had a defensive savior to wondering if they just signed their own biggest hater. And Caitlin Clark? You know she's seen the tweets. Whether she addresses it or not, she's got a front row seat to the mess.
So, I don't know, Indiana Fever fans, if they're interested in a good basketball player and a good rim protector, you will enjoy, Brianna Turner, and I wish you guys the best of luck.
This is like a reality TV plotline disguised as a sports story. One day, Turner's a solid free agency pickup. The next, she's public enemy number one to a fan base that was just starting to welcome her in. The comparisons are endless. It's like inviting someone to your wedding only to find out they once wrote a whole Facebook post about how your taste in music is trash. It's like hiring a chef who once tweeted that your favorite dish is disgusting. It's like, well, you get the point. Indiana Fever wanted an elite defender. Instead, they got a PR nightmare. And the worst part? It's self-inflicted. No scandalous headlines, no off-court incidents, just some good old-fashioned tweet digging, proving once again that the internet never forgets. Now, what happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Turner's got to show up, play her heart out, and somehow convince fans that she's here for the Fever, not against them. But winning them over won't be easy, because if there's one thing basketball fans never do, it's let go of receipts. And Brianna Turner? She just found out she's on the wrong end of the biggest one Indiana Fever fans have seen in a long time.
Feel free to unfollow, mute, or block me if that is bothersome to you. Always protect your peace. She goes on to say, I will not bend the knee or change my online advocacy efforts to appease others.
Had no problem signing with the Indiana Fever. Because the reality is, these women don't believe the things that they say. It makes it very hard to take anything that they say for what they say. Even to the point of, oh, look at this. Brianna Turner, 2/17/25. That was today. She's on Twitter today. I'm not even having to go back to look at these other things.
Brianna Turner is already off to a terrible start with Indiana Fever fans. And honestly, no one is surprised. The moment her signing was announced, fans groaned. Not because she's some game-changing superstar, but because they knew exactly what was coming. And guess what? They were right. Turner wasted no time making herself the villain by blocking fans who dared to question her past comments on Caitlin Clark. Let's be real. Brianna Turner has a history of running her mouth about Clark. When Clark was dominating in college, Turner was one of the many WNBA players side-eyeing her success, throwing subtle and not-so-subtle shade. Now, she's suddenly teammates with the very player she's criticized? Yeah, that's not going to go over well. Fever fans are already questioning how she's going to fit into a locker room that should be embracing Clark, not trying to tear her down.
Folks, we are less than 96 hours removed from signing Brianna Turner, and she's tweeted multiple things. She has yet to tweet, happy to be here in Indiana, happy to be a part of the crew. Instead, she gets on her bully pulpit now that she is on a team with fans that actually might give a shit about her. Did that sound harsh? Oh well. She went on her bully pulpit now that she has a bigger platform because she's associated with America's team. And she wastes, I hate misogyny, as we all do.
But instead of trying to win fans over, Turner is on a blocking spree. If you so much as bring up her old tweets or question why she's suddenly cool with Clark now, boom, you're gone. Poof, blocked. It's like she thinks avoiding the truth will make people forget what she said. Sorry, Brianna, but the internet never forgets. Let's compare this to someone like Aaliyah Boston, who has been nothing but welcoming to Clark. Boston, a R-star in her own right, understands that having Clark on the team is a good thing. She's showing leadership, embracing the challenge, and recognizing that Clark makes the team better. Meanwhile, Turner is out here acting like a child who got caught talking behind someone's back. Fever fans wanted players who would build team chemistry, not destroy it. But now they've got Turner, who might single-handedly mess up the whole locker room vibe. Imagine Clark walking into the locker room, excited to get to work, and there's Turner giving her side eyes, arms crossed, acting like she didn't spend the last year downplaying Clark's talent. That's awkward. That's tension. That's not what this team needs.
Turner is a ring protector. High-level rebounder, all-around defensive steward. Two-time All-WNBA first team. Look, hell, just add Cheryl Swoops to the locker room while you're at it.
And let's not forget, the Fever already had enough drama. Between last season's struggles, a new coaching staff, and the pressure of turning things around, the last thing they needed was a divisive player who can't handle a little criticism. Fever fans wanted reinforcements, not distractions. So now, instead of focusing on winning games, Turner is busy curating her social media feed like a teenage influencer who just got their first wave of negative comments. Instead of proving herself on the court, she's running from fans on Twitter. Instead of embracing the team-first mentality, she's bringing in unnecessary drama. Not exactly the impact Fever fans were hoping for. This signing was a mistake. Fever fans know it. The locker room is about to know it. And eventually, even the front office is going to realize it.
Outside chatter influences a locker room. I know that's a crazy concept, but it's the truth. That's why it's so important to have a tight-knit locker room to block out that chatter. That's why it was so important to have somebody like E-Dub, who's not going to be an activist the whole entire season, blocking out the noise, instead of somebody like Brianna Turner, who's only trying to be an activist, inciting the noise, adding to the noise, giving fuel to the fire. Ben, what did Brianna Turner do this time? Does it matter? Does it matter?
Indiana Fever had one mission: build a championship team around Caitlin Clark. They were making all the right moves, stacking talent, adding key pieces, and setting up for a dominant season. Then, out of nowhere, they signed Brianna Turner. The same player who's been openly dismissive of Caitlin Clark's impact, the one constantly talking about how other WNBA players deserve more attention, that's who they thought would be a great fit. This isn't just a bad move, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Turner isn't exactly known for lighting up the scoreboard. She's not a dominant force, she's not a game changer, and she's definitely not the missing piece to a title run. But what she does bring is a locker room headache. Why bring in someone who's made it clear she doesn't buy into the Caitlin Clark effect? Indiana needed support for their franchise player, not someone who will side-eye every headline Clark gets.
When you're saying stuff on his internet, it is going to be archived. Somebody's going to screenshot it. Somebody's going to save it. It is going to be there. And the way these fans react whenever they get a new player, I mean, they're going through your Twitter, your replies. Hell, they might look and see who your cousins is and go through their stuff. That is just the nature of the business when you sign to a big-time franchise like the Indiana Fever. It's almost like the fans is going to interview you themselves. After you got signed, the fans is going to, you know what I'm saying, do a background check.
Let's be real. Indiana is stacked. They got the top 5 players in the league rocking their jerseys, and yet here comes Brianna Turner, bringing nothing but Twitter fingers and a defensive rating that screams liability. Fever fans wanted energy, a team player, somebody ready to grind for a championship. Instead, they got a part-time hooper, full-time social media warrior. Compare her to the real dogs on this team: Caitlin Clark, out here changing the game; Aaliyah Boston, dominating the paint like it's her personal backyard; Kelsey Mitchell, certified bucket; Sophie Cunningham, straight powerhouse; and then Brianna Turner. What's her specialty? Running a masterclass on blocking people online? Maybe Fever fans should start blocking her shots since she clearly struggles with that herself.
The Fever did not come to play. They are on a mission to win now, like 2025 championship season incoming. They were so quiet during free agency. And in the past 24 hours, boom, boom, boom. Re-signed Kelsey Mitchell to a max deal. Picked up Natasha Howard, bringing her back to the Indiana Fever, where she was originally drafted. And then they just announced a three-way trade sending Alyssa Smith to Dallas and Sophie Cunningham coming to the Fever.
Championship hopes? Still alive. But only if Turner remembers she plays basketball, not Twitter debates. The only blocking Fever fans care about happens on the court, not on an app. Maybe instead of logging into Twitter, she should log into some extra practice. Indiana took a chance on her, and this is how she pays them back? Fever fans expected a hooper, but all they got was an influencer. At this point, she might as well start dropping "Get Ready With Me" videos before the game. Maybe she'll actually make an impact somewhere, because right now, her biggest stats are tweets per minute. Look, Indiana is trying to build something special. They got the pieces, the talent, the energy. What they don't need? A walking distraction. Brianna Turner, it's real simple. Show up, hoop, and prove you belong. Otherwise, the only thing you'll be leading is the bench in warm-up reps.
Background check. That ain't checking out right, man. Because I am stunned, dog. I am definitely stunned with this one, man. I wasn't expecting none of this, like I stated in the beginning part. I'm trying to look and see how her contract looked. What's the breakdown with that? How much cap space is left? All that. You know, I was getting ready to drop video about all that, and then all of a sudden,
It couldn't have been a WNBA free agency without a major shakeup, and Brianna Turner just might be the biggest one yet. The Indiana Fever pulled the trigger on a move that has fans scratching their heads. Was this a brilliant defensive pickup or a complete waste of cap space? Let's be real. Brianna Turner is like that group project member who shows up, says a few words, and somehow gets credit for the whole thing. She's been in the league since 2019, and what has she really done? She's a defensive specialist, which is just a fancy way of saying she doesn't score. Look at her numbers. She averages less than 5 points per game. That's right. A starting caliber WNBA player who barely scores a layup per quarter. Her best offensive move? Passing the ball to someone actually capable of getting buckets.
If Doncic played a 5 and she may play the 4 from time to time, okay, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. You picked up somebody who can run the floor and play defense. But what else does she play? I'm scrolling down her Twitter feed and I see she likes to play victim.
The Fever need firepower, someone who is going to defend for everything. And yes, Brianna can do that, but her antics off of the floor might cause the biggest problems for the Fever. We will have to see how it all pans out and let Brianna do her talking on the floor. But as of right now, Fever fans will have to see what she tweets and go from there. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.